Back to our coverage now of Hurricane Irma, and homeowners, renters, and business owners here in Miami-Dade, Broward, and Monroe counties can now apply for federal disaster assistance. But a lot of people have been asking, how do I do it?
And are you eligible even if you have insurance?
All right, joining us right now is John Mills. He's a spokesperson for FEMA. And Mr. Mills, thank you for joining us. So many folks here in South Florida have been affected by this storm. What benefits are available to residents of this area now?
Well, Rick, Rudabeh, and Elliot, thanks so much for having me on this evening. And this is the really important information that we're trying to get out to disaster survivors. As you know, Hurricane Irma was a huge storm and has had major impacts from the Florida Keys, where you've been reporting tonight, all the way up through the Tampa Bay area, Orlando, Daytona Beach, all the way up through Jacksonville. We're encouraging people who have damage to their homes and those who suffered serious losses to register with FEMA for disaster assistance. The fastest way to do that is by going online to DisasterAssistance.gov. That's DisasterAssistance.gov. The registration process is going to take about 15 or 20 minutes, and you'll be asked for some basic information, where the damage happened, if you can't stay in your home, an address where you can get mail, if your phone at home isn't working, a phone number where you can be reached. And in coming days, people are being contacted by FEMA damage inspectors who will come to homes, take a look at the damage that's been reported, send those verified losses electronically back to FEMA, and then those who are eligible may be able to receive grant money that they would not have to repay for temporary rental assistance, basic home repairs, and other needs not covered by insurance. It is also possible to register with FEMA by phone if you don't have internet access, and that number is 1-800-621-3362. That's 1-800-621-FEMA.
And Mr. Mills, what if you do have insurance? Are you still eligible for FEMA funding?
So if you have insurance and if you don't have insurance, but you have damage from Hurricane Irma, you should register for assistance, whether you have insurance or not. Likewise, homeowners and renters are welcome to register with FEMA at DisasterAssistance.gov. Every household is handled on a case-by-case basis. Everyone went through Hurricane Irma together, but everyone's exact situation now is unique. As you're seeing in the Keys, where there's a lot of devastation, and in some areas where there are fewer impacts, fortunately, a lot of people still have damage and a lot of people still have needs. So we're encouraging people who have damage and who have needs to report those needs to us. Tell us about what your family is going through, because everyone's handled on a case-by-case basis. So we want to hear from you either at DisasterAssistance.gov or at 1-800-621-3362. Tell us what your damage is, tell us what your needs are, and you may be able to receive money for temporary rental assistance if you need to live somewhere else. And as you know, some people may have ridden out this storm at home despite evacuation orders, and they may be living in a situation right now that's not safe. They can also register with FEMA for assistance, and we will try to support the state as we are right now in getting assistance to people based on their needs. We're also coordinating across the entire federal government. Tens of thousands of federal responders are involved in this. About 2,600 of those are FEMA employees. We're also working across charitable and voluntary agencies. You're already seeing them in a lot of neighborhoods. And you'll also be seeing FEMA disaster survivor assistance teams going door to door, as directed by local emergency management, in support of the state, to provide assistance in shelters and in hard-hit neighborhoods. So people who may not have phones, people who may not have internet access, can get registered for FEMA assistance and get at least a roof over their head, so we can begin to talk about getting them back on their feet and on the road to recovery.
Mr. Mills, it was only a couple of weeks ago we were talking about the victims of Hurricane Harvey and the devastation that that storm brought to the people of Texas. And we heard from some FEMA officials that the agency was running out of money. Do you have the funding to cover all of the losses, to support all of the people that need FEMA's help, both in Southeast Texas and also here in South Florida?
Well, this is what we train for, and this is what we do. We help disaster survivors in their time of need. I don't want people to think about that. I want people who have damage to register with FEMA at DisasterAssistance.gov. Let's get you some help.
And for those people down in the Keys, you mentioned the Keys, and of course that's the area here in South Florida that has been hit the hardest. Some of those people do not have homes to go back to. You talk about temporary housing. Are there any more permanent solutions that FEMA can help these people in the Keys who've lost their homes figure out?
So you're going to see a lot of activity continuing in the Florida Keys. So some of the things we were doing at the request of the state and at the request of local emergency management officials going through state emergency management and to us is doing bridge inspections, road inspections, making sure it's safe to access areas. We've been getting more access to these areas. We've been coordinating in support of the Florida National Guard along with the Department of Defense to airlift commodities into those hard-hit areas. Critical supplies like water, and you've seen some of that water already getting delivered, along with food. As power gets restored, that is one of the very top priorities. We all depend so much on electricity. That can help grocery stores get reopened. Fuel supply is also another area where we're really focusing right now, in particular in the hard-hit areas where some of these critical supplies are still in short supply. But there are going to be a lot of challenges ahead, and we're going to be looking at a wide variety of housing options. The priority now is getting a roof over people's heads, but we're going to be listening to the state of Florida and the state's recommendations, and the state's going to be listening to local communities about what their needs are, and that's going to open a broad range of temporary and more permanent housing solutions for people who've been affected by this disaster.
That's great.
The key is letting us know what your needs are.
All right, John Mills from FEMA, thank you very much for joining us with this important information.
Thank you.